Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I want to first and foremost welcome everyone to our 3 holy sites tour for the month of February, inshallah ta'ala. I want to also point out that this meeting is being recorded so that if you miss anything, you can always play it back. It will be posted in that WhatsApp group. So before we go any further into the meeting, I want to present you the agenda for tonight and what we're trying to achieve. So first, we're going to have a little bit of a formal introduction with our team. Then we'll go through your itinerary for the trip, the scheduling is looking like. We already have it up on the meets. And then we're going to go through some of the tech needs that you're going to have, your technology needs for the trip. And lastly, there will be a Q&A session at the end. So I ask that everyone kindly hold their questions till the end. If you have a question, you can write it down or post it in the chat, inshallah, and we'll get through it once we're done with, going through this agenda. So without further ado, I would like to start with introductions. I would like to call Brother Tahir Javed up to the mic to speak. He's our group coordinator, and he can, give us a couple of words.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'd like to welcome all you for this 3 holy city trips, and we're gonna I coordinate the groups and we give them programs. That's what's most of my responsibilities.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to call Brother Samiuddin. He is our CEO, formerly known as Khadim al-Hajjaj. He has so many years of service. I mean, he can tell you more about it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, in this meeting, I will cover the part of Amman and Masjid Aqsa side. Inshallah.
Thank you so much, brother. A little bit about myself. Well, my name is Rahima, and you might have been getting my messages and emails throughout. So I am the group facilitator, and I just kind of make sure everything works smoothly. If you have any questions, you can always reach out, inshallah. And I want to make sure that this is as spiritual and as productive a journey for all of us as possible. And last but not least, I would like to call up the director, Brother Harun.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Harun, inshallah, and I am responsible for all the movements in Saudi Arabia, making sure the whole project goes smoothly, inshallah. You will be seeing some of me, inshallah, when you arrive in Saudi after the Amman and Aqsa tour. And without any further ado, inshallah, let's jump into the remaining information for the trip, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Exactly. So like I said, you already have on the screen the schedule, which will be posted in a little bit into that group chat as well. So you have access to it throughout the trip. And what you'll see first is the first leg of the trip, right, where you're covering Amman and Aqsa. So Brother Sami, would you like to kind of go through those movements with everyone?
Yes, inshallah. I'm going to start with reading Surah Asra's ayat, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير صدق الله العظيم. Are you going with a very Mubarak trip right now, inshallah? So I'm just going to be giving you a detail. When you're going to take a flight from JFK to Riyadh to Amman. Well, as soon you land in Amman, everybody should just leave the plane, and somebody will be standing outside the plane, not all, with the sign Ainul Haramain, Hajj and Umrah, and he will collect all the passport, and everyone goes downstairs, collect your luggages, and he will bring a passport with a visa, inshallah. And the outside bus is standing. On the way going, you will be stopping at Ashab al-Kahf, 7 sleepers, and then you'll be going to the hotel. That's going to be the program. Everything is listed, but I'm just mentioning it. Okay, on 19, right after the breakfast, you will take into Petra. That's a whole day trip. It's from Amman to Petra will be about 3 hours. And then you will spend in Petra at least 3 to 4 hours. And then when you're coming back from Petra, the bus will take you all the way to the King Hussein Bridge site. And then from there, you go to the other bus gonna pick up from the LMB border in West Bank or Palestine site. And then you will be going to the Masjid Aqsa. The program is, everything is listed. And most important thing, all of you, my advice, and inshallah Javed bhai also gonna advise you, everybody take the small hand carry to the Aqsa site, because the inspection is very tough. So you're not gonna waste time in a custom. So in Masjid Aqsa, you will have Sheikh Saleh who's gonna handle all the group. You'll be staying in a Hashmi hotel in the old city. Okay, the second day probably a walking tour, and the third day you have a tour in West Bank, Hebron, Bethlehem, Jericho, and then the fourth day you will be back in Amman again. You're staying another night in Amman, and you go the 23rd. You'll be flying from Amman to Medina directly, inshallah. So this is the basic program. If you have any question, anything, you can ask us, and any advice, inshallah, brother Tahir Javed will give, inshallah. Okay, thank you very much.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I know
but-
this is a first trip for a lot of people to both Aqsa and Amman, and there are some advices that I think Brother Javed has figured out throughout the years that he would like to share with everyone to make sure this goes really smoothly. And like Brother Sami mentioned, like there are security things as well that he'd like to kind of get into the details of.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, with this, our group leader, Captain Wahid, he had, been there 3 times before. He have a nice video at the, YouTube, and he explained all those places. But this time you have, alhamdulillah, Brother Saleh. I've been there for last 5 years, quite maybe 5-6 times. So he is very knowledgeable. Few things you have to remember, especially when you leaving next day in the morning. Try to be arranged. We will let them know that they will give you breakfast earlier. So earlier you can go to Petra. It will help you when you come back. You will see a few more places down the, coming back, because Battle of Mota, and then there is 3 Sahabas, Hazrat Jafar Tayyar, Hazrat the 2 other Sahabis. They're, the Qabr Mubaraks are there. You can stop by. Is depend on, and also the battleground of the Mota and few other places are there. So it's all depend what time you leaving. We will try to bring you by the border not later than 1800 hours. And my advice to you, you will have opportunity to put all your luggage in the same hotel. You coming back after 3 days in the same hotel. So they will give you a room. You can put all your extra luggage, whichever is not necessary. So you will carry less luggage on a bus. So inshallah, in a couple of hours, it's take only 1 hour to cross the Jordan side bridge as well as the L&B border. And that time they usually border close at 10. But by the time 8 o'clock, Brother Saleh will be there outside, and he will take you to the Jerusalem. Go, and you will enjoy the Hashimi Hotel. It's right in the Muslim quarters. In the old city, you have, 4 quarters: Muslim quarters, Jewish quarters, Christian quarters, and Armenian quarters. So when you have a next day tour by Sheikh Saleh, he will take you all these places and he will explain you all these things. The tour to Hebron on the 21st will be take you to Bethlehem as well as Jericho. And the last day, when you will be leaving from there, they will stop by at the Maqam Musa, and then you will be, inshallah, crossing the border and coming back to Amman. You should take your time in Petra. In the trip, the ticket to the Petra is already included in the package. And, there is some rides for, horses are there, donkeys are there, mostly people, we take them, they enjoy, those rides. So make sure you have spend time, look at those, the places. And the coming back this is much, much easier, the border crossing, than if you taking Tel Aviv airport. When we go to the Tel Aviv airport, they have first screening, you have go talk to them, and then you go for the briefing, and then you go for immigration. On the border, you're going to come back, there is a scanner, same scanners like we have at the JFK. You put your passport, there is a slip comes out, and then you pay the airport tax. Captain Wahid will have that arrangement. You will just pay over there. You can pay local currency, or on a one credit card, you can charge it, or however he likes it. And all the program, your group leader, he's a very well experienced, and as he's the executives in the police department as well, so he knows how to. And whatever program, little bit changes are there, he will be managing it. And inshallah, when you will be arriving in Medina, alhamdulillah, you guys are from Amman to Medina coming direct. From there, inshallah, brother Harun and sister Rahima will be taking over from there, but I will be still on here to answer any other question regarding the place. I want you to enjoy the Hashmi Hotel in the morning, especially after the, Fajr. You come back from the Masjid Aqsa, which is about, I remember one time, it's 8-minute walk. It's inside the old city, so you will see, it's not that far from there. About 3 to 5 block, I would say, total. So inshallah, let's brother Harun, you can take over from here to Medina, and I will be answering if there any question for Aqsa, Jordan, or that side.
All right, Jazakallah khair, Javed bhai. So inshallah, once you get done with your journey for Masjid Al-Aqsa and Amman side, you will be arriving in Medina, inshallah. Once you get to Medina, you will settle in, and we are planning to have a walking tour sometime after Isha. We will post it in the group, inshallah, and we will go ahead and wait in the lobby so we can get everyone together and take everyone for the walking tour. The walking tour in Medina, it's more focused around where to go in for the salam, how to go to Riyadul Jannah or the Roda, making sure these activities can be done efficiently, and how to get from your hotel to these places, and a little bit of a layout for Haram, and just show you how to get back and forth from the hotel. Even though you're very close, it's still important to understand that you cannot just enter from any gate for these activities. So these activities will follow along once you guys arrive there. Next day will be your Jummah prayer, inshallah. On Saturday, we will be conducting historical tours. And then on Sunday, you will be leaving for Makkah, inshallah. Once you arrive in Makkah, you will be performing your Umrah on the same day. You will have a free day, then historical tours on Tuesday morning, inshallah. And then another free day. Please use that last free day to actually get your packing done. Because we do depart right after midnight, around approximately 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. So we do want to make sure we can get you to the airport on time. That night is paid for, so you don't check out of the room. We usually do our checkout right after midnight, so we can go ahead and get you to the airport, inshallah. And our flight would be at early morning at 6:15, and you will arrive at JFK before noon on the same day. I want to hand it over to Sister Rahima so she can cover the technology needs and Nuzuk app that is required these days.
Absolutely. And I just want to reiterate that this is being recorded. So, if I see some writing happening, don't fret. It'll all be posted in the group chat as well. I know there was a lot of timings and things that were mentioned, especially for Aqsa. So much so that I actually couldn't fit everything onto this one document. So we'll have to send another one over, inshallah, because there's a lot going on. And that's why those free days are so important, to help make sure that everyone's resting and taking care of themselves. So another thing that is extremely important, especially if you've been to Saudi post-COVID, is technology, because now they have a new system of performing performing these acts of worship, the Umrah and visiting the Roda, which requires you to actually take out a permit or make an appointment on their app, which is called the Nusuk app. So if you're in the group chat, you must have been seeing constant reminders to, take out or to download the Nusuk app and to create your account for it. So maybe we could just do like a show of hands if you guys could raise your hands if you've already created the Nusuk app, so that we kind of have an idea of how many people are done. All right, okay. So we have some people who are already done, and then we have some hands that weren't raised. So I'm assuming that there's still some people who are waiting for clarification, and that's absolutely fine. So in order to, like I said, in order to access the Roda or to perform Umrah, you need to take out an appointment, right, or a permit as it's called, for a certain time slot on a certain given day, and that is the permit that you basically are showing once you get to the door to be allowed in, right? But before you can get to that point, there's a couple of things that you need, right? And the first thing that you're going to need is a working smartphone with internet access, right? So the way that you can access internet is there are two ways that you can access the internet. It's either A, you are doing so through Wi-Fi, right, which is available in the hotel but not in the outer areas of the city. So once you're outside of the hotel, you're not going to have access to that Wi-Fi. Or two, by getting an internet data plan, right? And as far as Wi-Fi goes, I've had people ask, can I just run the app on Wi-Fi? Yes, you can. But if you get logged out from the amount of time it takes you from the hotel to the gate of the Haram and you get logged out, then you'd have to walk all the way back to the hotel, get re-logged in, turn it all back on and open everything up and walk back, in which time you might miss your appointment, especially in Medina because they're 30 minutes appointments, right? So that's something to keep in mind. As for having a data plan, there are two ways that you could do that. One would be calling your carrier from the US and basically speaking to them about having international roaming data, right? And figuring out how that works for you, whether it's part of your plan or if it's something you wanted to add on. Or if you don't want to take on roaming data, you can actually keep an unlocked smartphone with you to take to Saudi and get a local SIM. And the way local SIMs work is that it's actually connected to your visa number. So each person is allowed one SIM on their visa number. As for how many accounts or how many phone numbers do you need, we recommend that every single person who's planning to visit the Roda or planning to make Umrah has their own account, right? So if you have a child who is, let's say, 10 years old, might not have a phone, but they should have their own account. And then the question arises, do they need their own phone? So if they're going with you, right, then when you're at the door, they're going to need to see both your account opened up with your permit and the child's account opened up with their permit. So it's not really possible to do that on one phone at the same time. So at which case you do need two phones. If you guys are going separately, then there's a way where you could, one signs into the account at their time and then, signs out for the other person's time. But it has to be timed in a way that, each family member is going separately. So the recommendation is definitely that every single family member should have their own smartphone with Nusuk downloaded with their selves signed into the Nusuk, right? And in order to get into the Nusuk app and to register and to get yourself an account, you need two things which are super important. Of course, your passport number and visa number, which everyone already has. And then in addition, you need a unique email address that you have access to and a unique phone number. The phone number is more so them collecting data. You're not getting a text message or anything on there, but the email is extremely important. And so I've had people in the past do this where they use an email address that they, don't have access to, or it's full, or they forgot the password to. Super important that you can get into that email address because they're going to send a verification code, a one-time password onto that email. So in order to actually sign in, whenever you try to sign in, even if it's like a second time login or whatever, they're going to send a passcode to your email and you need to open up the email, get the 4-digit code, type it in. So if you don't have access to that email, you can see it becomes like a repetitive circle of not being able to get into your account. So it's very, very important that you have access to this email, the password, and you're able to easily access it. And this is a case for every single account. So one email can be used to create more than one account. So one account, it needs its own visa number, its own phone number, and its own email address, and such an email address which you're able to get access to. Right, so that, I hope that's very clear. Once you're into the Nusuk, and these have all been posted in the chat as both as a PDF format and then also as a video tutorial format. Once you're in the app, now you have the option to make an appointment for Umrah and an appointment for Roda. So we definitely suggest doing both. We've also put in the recommended timings for both in the group chat, and I can obviously resend all that information so that everyone has it. But it's just one thing to keep in mind, and I know that there's lots of cops here, so you guys know it's in a 24-hour format. So just super, super important. You know, if you're taking out a 3 o'clock appointment, it's not going to be 3 p.m. It's going to be 3 a.m. Right, and that's something that people commonly mistake. So just making sure you're taking out your permit for such a time that you know you'll be able to make, and that you won't miss it. Or if you feel that you're going to miss it, you know, cancel and schedule it for a time that works better for you, and keeping in mind that it is 24-hour format. Because for the Roda, if you miss your appointment, you're not able to make you will not be able to make an appointment for the next 30 days, because the Roda appointments are only allowed once every 30 days, right? And so if you miss it, unfortunately, you won't be able to make it into the Roda. Umrah is a little bit more relaxed because they're not really checking it at the gate. You know, as soon as one finishes, you can take out another. They're usually available even day of, right? But Roda is very strict. Even if you're like, if you get to your appointment 5 minutes before the time ending, they still won't take you, right? So you want to be there before the time even starts for your permit. You want to make sure that it's a time that you can be there. You want to make sure you're not, you know, mixing up AM and PM. And this is really important to us right now. You want to make sure you're taking out your permit from now, because they're already starting to completely book out the Roda permits. And if you're, you know, if anyone's on the app and has access to see it, they're already booked up all the way till the 22nd. So the 22nd onward, they have dates, but that means that soon enough, those are going to start filling up as well. And once they're gone, right? So we really want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get set up tonight, since again, we already have our visas. And to take out their permits tonight, inshallah. And like I said, I'll be reposting all the information that you need for that step-by-step tutorials and all in that group chat. So super important that both you and your family members are in there. Other to that, I think, inshallah, we've covered most of the logistics of what we'll need for this trip. And inshallah, tomorrow we'll go more in depth about the religious and spiritual aspects. But inshallah ta'ala, I think this is, Brother Harun, that we've covered most of what we wanted to as far as logistics go, unless you wanted to add anything.
I just wanted to add one last thing. Children under 5 cannot take out permits. I just wanted to clarify that so everyone understands that if there are any kids in this group that are under 5, they will not be able to take out a permit even if you create a Nusuk account. Another thing I wanted to add is, inshallah, may Allah invite everyone over and over again. And if these needs continue with the Nusuk app, it's very important you're putting in information that you will have access to in the long run. Even with the numbers, you know, they used to do the code on the number, then they switched over to the email. So it's very important that even if you use some information that you may forget, use a password that you will not forget. So in the future, if you need to recover the account, there are possibilities of updating the email. But that is not possible if you don't have accurate information to your account. So it's very important you're not just using the email just for the sake of just using it once. Use an email that you will have access to, inshallah. And of course, when you're in these holy places, make dua to Allah. Allah invites us over and over again, and you will need that app again as well too, inshallah. So that was just one last thing that I wanted to add before we ended.
Absolutely. May Allah invite us all again and again and accept from everyone. So I think this is a good place for us to kind of end the recording, and maybe we could start a little bit of a question and answer session. If anyone has, you